Hello and welcome to your in-depth forecast for week commencing the 17th of January for the Sun or the Ascendant. As ever, I'm going to give you a broad overview of what to expect this week before diving deep and sharing in forensic detail for each of the 12 zodiac signs what is in store. So this week begins with a very potent full moon in the sign of Cancer. The sign of Cancer is governed by the moon. So the moon being here is, if you like, in its home birth. But this opposition with the sign of Capricorn is very marked because in Capricorn, Pluto, the planet of change, is very closely tethered to the Sun, and therefore the moon's in an opposition to Pluto as well as the Sun. When the moon and Pluto are in the mix in an opposition, that can create a polarization, and it can be quite difficult to find a balance. Now the moon's asking us to stay mindful as we punch our way towards our goals, ambitions and targets, very Capricorn energy, and very much the physical world. The Cancerian energy is reminding us that we must stay in touch with how it feels, and if something feels not so comfortable, even if it's given us some form of success or progress, just to try to reconfigure things so things are a little bit better aligned. And this energy will last for the next 2 weeks. If you'd like to know more about the full moon, you can join me for my deep dive video by seeing the link beneath this show. But all this week, Mars is actually forging a very positive link to Pluto, so we have a semi-sextile, and that's very energizing. Mars continues in the sign of Sagittarius, but there's 3 of the more draining, enervating vibe of Neptune, which really was affecting it quite badly for the previous 10 days. So I think energy can generally be a lot better. Also, Uranus has gone direct. Uranus has been in a very jagged, abrasive right angle with Saturn, and the great news is as the Sun moves on Thursday into the sign of Aquarius, the right angle between the 2 rulers of Aquarius, traditional Saturn, modern Uranus, actually stretches out to 4 degrees. Now when I do the sun sign forecast, I always take into account influences within 3-degree orb. So that's a very precise influence. So they're starting to stretch apart now, and they really have caused immense impact over the last year and given us quite a few sleepless nights, made us more agitated, perhaps seen us quite frustrated by the restrictions that may have been imposed upon us. But now things will ease a little bit. But the Sun moving into the sign of Aquarius joins up with Saturn, but also with the retreating Mercury, still in that retrograde. So the Sun moving into this area can mitigate some of the snags that Mercury in Aquarius in retrograde can create. So if there has been some tensions around friendships, or perhaps we just haven't heard from someone, perhaps we've been preoccupied with those more worldly aims and ambitions, then what the Sun's saying is that it's very important to stay joined together with others. Now as the week draws to a close, it's the Sun's turn to be in a semi-sextile, but this time with Jupiter. Jupiter, of course, has only recently left the sign of Aquarius the last 3 days of last year, so it moved back into its home zone of Pisces, but it's actually beautifully aligned to the Sun as this week draws to a close. So there may be some good news that we're not expecting. Perhaps someone we haven't heard from for some while is going to be in contact, or a good deed can come in our direction, or perhaps it's going to be us who does something more altruistic for another person. This is also a week when Venus, the planet of love, but also of loot, forges a very promising link with Uranus. If this rings a bell, it's because Venus is retreated in its retrograde to the point of reactivating its 120-degree enabling trine with the rather erratic energies of Uranus. But this is just saying to us, look, if we can think outside the box when it comes to our resources, and perhaps also our relationships, to try to enliven them with some freshness, then that's a smart thing to do. Now, if you're new to my channel, I would be honoured if you would subscribe. Please click or tap on the bell notification symbol. You can also get your free daily written horoscope fired to your device each morning by seeing the link beneath this video. Or if you'd like to order your 12-month forecast and get your character analysis based on your personal astrology, you can do so and get 30% off by seeing the link below. But please stay with me for your in-depth zodiac sign forecast. Hello Aries, and welcome to your in-depth forecast for week commencing the 17th of January. With the North Node in Taurus and Uranus going direct in the sign of Taurus, plus 2 eclipses in Taurus this year, you have an opportunity to really grapple with your long-term financial situation in 2022. Jupiter, the planet of fortune, is also tucked up just behind your Sun in your 12th house. I think this suggests don't ignore the talents, experiences and skills that you've gained over many years, because these could be redeployed in a more imaginative way, particularly this week with Uranus in a sparkling alliance with Venus. So if you're thinking about your professional situation and perhaps your circumstances have changed and that's been frustrating, but if you can reimagine the skill set you have, try to do that, because being flexible is one of the most important things in modern society. And obviously an appreciation of technology is no bad thing as well. So maybe even thinking about a course, a distance learning course could be of interest to you, particularly with Mars in your 9th house. And Mars is actually linking in very helpfully to Pluto this week. Pluto is about transformations, Mars is about drive. So if there is a professional aspiration that you have that may benefit from a fresh approach, then do contemplate how this might work for you. What about that full moon? Well, yours is a sign that has a reputation for charging into situations, being very bluff and going for it, not always thinking about the wider situation. I actually don't agree with that analysis, that archetype of your sign. I think you very often listen very carefully to your instincts, but then have the courage to take action. So what I think the moon in Cancer is saying, just make doubly sure that if you do decide to do something this week that is a little bit different, that you do think through all the different equations to how this may unfold. And having a degree of caution is no bad thing. So I think the moon is just saying, look after your interests, but it doesn't mean to say that you shouldn't chase your goals and ambitions. But if there is a chance to get together with some people, perhaps there's been some social distancing that's been imposed in your particular area, but with the Sun moving into Aquarius, I think there is an opportunity with the right angle between Uranus and Saturn, the two rulers of Aquarius, stretching out from the weekend. There is an opportunity, I feel, to get together with people, perhaps even digitally through some kind of social networking situation, and that can actually be very cathartic. January is often a time when we can hunker down, especially in the northern hemisphere, and just try to sort of like recharge our energy. Not much is coming up from the soil where it's cold, but we can start to sort of want to venture out more and catch up with the gossip with our friends. And I think that may be something that you will enjoy as this week draws to a close.